So for our diversity project, we decided to research about the underrepresentation of non-white males as majority owners in the NBA. Diversity in professional sports is evident on the fields and courts across the country. It's common knowledge that the NBA, as well as many other professional sports leagues, have many African American and Latino players. However, once you get off the court and off the field, the racial demographics of the leagues are totally different. The NBA remains the leader among professional sports leagues in diversity hiring practices, according to a report released by the Institute of Diversity and Ethics in Sports. It consistently has outplaced other major professional leagues, but they still have some room to improve when it comes to majority ownership, as all majority owners are white males except for one, who is an African American male. The increasing presence of minorities of color in ownership roles would surely lead to improvement of overall diversity in the NBA.
Alright, so I'm going to give you some background information on our topic, which is the underrepresentation of non-white males as NBA owners. To start things off, in 2002, Robert Johnson became the first African American to become a majority owner in the NBA. A year later, in 2003, he finally got the approval from the NBA Board of Directors to allow him to purchase the Charlotte Bobcats franchise. 7 years later, in 2010, Robert Johnson decided he was going to sell his organization, and he decided to sell it to a man named Michael Jordan, who we all know very well. Michael Jordan had the opportunity to become the first African-American player to later on in the day become an African-American majority owner, which he is today, and he's still the owner of the Charlotte Hornets. The Institution for Diversity and Ethics in Sports came out with a survey in 2013 where they saw that the MLB was the only major league sport to have a majority of white players. The NBA is the most diverse sport out there out of the professional leagues, but when it comes to ownership, the diversity ends.
Alright, so a little bit of statistics and facts for NBA owners. On a better note, I know they are very under-diverse, but when it comes to hiring people, according to the Racial Gender Report Card, they received an A+ and a B grade for that, which is pretty good. At least they do try and keep it on the better side of that. So out of the 32 teams in the NBA, only 3 of them are owned by a non-white male. Michael Jordan of the Charlotte Hornets, as you're familiar of, Mikhail Prokhorov of the Brooklyn Nets, and Vivek Ranadive of the Sacramento Kings. Each membership is accompanied by a certified check around $1 million. So basically what that means, when they're initiated a new owner into the league, he has to put down an initial deposit of $1 million. So that's kind of why it's a little harder to find potential owners, because obviously $1 million is a lot of money just to put down on a deposit. Each prospective owner must be approved by the affirmative vote of no less than 3/4 of the governors at a meeting duty called for such purpose. And basically what that means for a new owner to get inducted, they have to have a 3/4 majority vote throughout all the owners for him to get accepted. A couple of statistics. Back in 2001, there was only one owner of color in the NBA, and as of 2013, there's now a total of 24. So there is an increase in diversity with that, so that's always good. Hopefully we continue to do that and keep that going. Out of the head coaches, 53% are white, and 43% are African American, and 3% are Latino. And with that being said, out of the owners, only a majority of those are, out of the whites, 98% of them own all the teams. So only 2% leave that for the African Americans, and we got to find some way how to increase that percentage a little bit. So,
in the current summary, Mary McDonald, a professor from Georgia Tech, talks about how blacks are not put in the position to have the money that they need to become an NBA owner. We also talk about how the New York Knicks have the most expensive net worth of $1.4 billion, and the least expensive teams averaging around $400 million. Currently, the only African American owner is Michael Jordan, with a couple other minority owners, but as of right now, he's the only full majority owner, which is he's of the Charlotte Hornets. With the NBA franchises greatly increasing each year, it's greatly reduced the applicants who are able to apply for things like this, because most people aren't able to afford the initial $1 million down payment that Adam talked about earlier in the video. And also just talking about how expensive it is for any person just to join the NBA at all.
A couple recommendations that would make the NBA more diverse would be targeting people with like a higher economy class, such as I would say Oprah Winfrey or Jay-Z. They're pretty much billionaires. Another recommendation would be like putting in more rules and regulations in the NBA where they have no choice but to make more minorities have an opportunity to own the NBA team. For example, would be the civil rights leader for the NBA wants to increase the black community management in the NBA. Also, another recommendation would be pretty much targeting more black people that were in the NBA that were successful, such as, for example, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. LeBron James, he has partial ownership with the Cavaliers, and as you know, Michael Jordan has the ownership for the Charlotte Hornets. Also, a good recommendation for the NBA would be interacting with more diverse people and minority-centered fans that basically are pretty much the most fans of the NBA. But just giving them a more opportunity to actually own a team, and that should lead to more minorities as owners in the NBA. In conclusion to this presentation, although there has been an increase with non-white males as partial owners, we hope to see that in the near future they will implement some of these recommendations, which will lead to the increase of percentage of non-white males as majority owners in the NBA.